Going all in on something must take a lot of conviction.
How many chairs are you sitting on right now?
How many chairs are you sitting on right now? How many chairs are you sitting on right now?
One.
Are you all in on the chair? You put on one pair of glasses, you've got one pair of AirPods, you're looking at me through one screen. That's one microphone. Like, you trust it? Is that conviction? Is that conviction? How many chairs are you sitting on right now?
One.
Are you all in on the chair?
One.
How many chairs are you sitting on right now? If you're a rational individual, when you use knives, do you have copper knives, wooden knives, steel knives, aluminum knives, rubber band knives, diamond knives, because you're afraid to commit to the right knife? It's a tool. Seems kind of scary. Why don't you diversify? Why don't you use 10 microphones? The point really is, things in your life, did you drive in 10 cars at the same time or one car at one time? Do you drive down one street? Aren't you afraid that you're driving down one street? Do you take a different way? You know? So my point really is, how many chairs are you sitting on right now?
One.
Are you all in on the chair?
One.
How many chairs are you sitting on right now?
Welcome aboard, everyone, to a new session of charting across the board. The hype, euphoria is in the air, exuberance across the crypto market. However, are we within a trick or treat for October? In July, or a few months ago, I believe it was July, August, we were looking a potential idea within the sun waves for the cyclical rhythm. Therefore, I cordially invite everyone who's watching this video to revisit our technical proposition since August, July. Okay. Why? Because there are key information, mainly here. This is a video from, I believe it was, if I go into that specific video, it would be August the 11th, if I remember correctly. On this stream, we presented a few data sets for a potential cycle top when for this month. Are we now in this juncture? Let's dive into the technicals and present what the arguments are currently within the price action among other variables that were presented since then. Okay? The main technical proposition started on Bitcoin on the weekly. Okay? That was from July, I believe. From there on, we move accordingly, levels by levels, with emphasis on this one. Okay? Will market tops in October 2025, at the end of October, potentially heading into the first week of November. Since then, other technical readings were presented also. On August 18th, after we presented Babylonia, suggesting potentially some ideas to where the price action may go. And currently, the last two stream, the previous one also, October, for the October cycle, presented 12 days ago, and today the most recent one. Okay, so therefore, where is Bitcoin currently trading? Once again, don't forget to revisit that specific video, okay, for more details. This is a sequence, a saga of all the data points we have been working on levels by levels, and today we are going to present the current levels, current information based on the frequency of the market rhythm. Everyone, welcome aboard to a new session of charting across the board. Where is Bitcoin? Give me the sauce, Marvo. 1 second, my friends. You guys know that we don't have a crystal ball, but we present our arguments, technical proposition. Therefore, once the levels are presented and printed, support and resistance levels are defined, established, we then present our readings, okay? To start with the chart, the price action on BTC, I would like to remark that a pattern before manifested to current levels was a technical proposition within the room, okay? August the 30th, that was the first support level, the first test at 108. We suggested potentially that a W formation, a variation of a W, in this case a shark pattern, was potentially within the radar to retest the upper boundary. Back then, only a technical proposition, an early identification structure from the lows, okay? From the lows of 108, we were projecting at least a retest of those highs, moving accordingly. Of course, you guys know that nothing goes straight up to those levels. There are waves in between. New support are defined, as well as new resistance levels are established along the wave, as long as the trend continues to be respected. Here, a pattern, a variation once again of a shark, and these targets are the measure move of the idea, the early identification structure, okay? The conservative target for this pattern correspond to the lowest height of the wedge as a conservative target, 131, and the highest one from the upper boundary to the lowest valley, computing that measure move of the structure potentially into the 138, maybe 140, okay? As mentioned before, nothing moved straight into an upward move or a downward move. However, we move accordingly. Once again, let's go date by date. August the 30th, first technical proposition. Of course, following first the major drawdown from the X point at 124 to the lows, okay? I would like to mention also that along the wave, never mind. I said never mind because it is always the case that there are projections being made at these highs. However, prices make a lower level. And at these lows, other levels, other projections are being made by others, also suggesting lower. But moving accordingly, levels by levels, is important. Okay, why? Because now that we're here in the upper boundary of this idea of a right angle and descending burning formation, we then move accordingly, okay? Important to highlight that idea also as a type 1 of this M formation, a shark pattern also, was presented within the room during September the 1st. We also mentioned that the key levels to break was first the 0.50 and the 0.618 from the highs to the lows, were a 115 and 117, 118 basically. That was previously a market structure resistance. Now, would that be an area of potential support? You guys know, my friends, levels by levels, okay? This one was a fractal pattern suggesting a potential retest of those highs also during September the 1st. If the lows here on the histogram island, the momentum indicator was suggesting, or the fear indicator was suggesting potentially a low were within the 108 region. Okay, the levels, of course, after plotting the Fibonacci levels from the highs to the lows, these levels were the key levels to break first. Of course, there was a decline larger than this one at 111. However, minor move, we went to 108 once again to where as a potential type 2 return. This idea, technical proposition, was at these levels, okay? Right here. However, we updated the new levels, the new information after the rejection of 117, 108 basically, or 118, I'm sorry, as a potential type 2 reversal, okay? As I mentioned before, ideally, nothing move straight into this manner, but respecting the fractal move here, we can observe that after recapturing this zone within the 0.61A as a key technical level, right here, these levels, we then move into a new support levels. We also presented a long setup in the room based on an M formation also as a bullish Gartley pattern in confluence with the type 2 return of this M formation. Type 1, reaction to 0.618, back to the lows as a higher low presented as a Gartley. If we zoom into this time interval or this segment of the move, there was a bullish Gartley, this one, okay? The type 1, back to those lows between the 0.786, 109, and 108 was a key level to defend. We mentioned this over and over and presented an argument for a long execution here with a stop at 107, a previous low. What occurred after? Indeed, the type 2 return was respected. Does it mean we knew this move? Absolutely not. However, we move accordingly based on lower risk, potentially high reward opportunity. So therefore, where is Bitcoin currently trading in the price action as of now? Right here, my friends. Okay? Here, type 1, then type 2 return, bullish Gartley, and now within the upper boundary, indeed, at the previous early identification structure for a right angle and descending broad information. However, now that we have new information, can this segment of the move in Bitcoin be ranging within this zone? Okay, that can be the case. Remember, this pattern was from September the 1st, an idea, technical proposition as to how high the price action may go to those levels if the measured move along other technical patterns, harmonic structures are in confluence within this region. So therefore, new information, I don't want to forget a key important point that I'm looking here. Let's can already observe a W formation, okay? Potentially now working into a new support levels from where? You guys know there's nothing new across the board, my friends. The blueprint continues to be the same, where we anchor Fibonacci ratios from where? From the lows, okay, to the highs, to common areas of retracement, the 0.382, the 0.50, and the 0.618. These are now the new support levels within this range, depending where the market may land, okay? First one is at the 0.382, 119,500. If that were to be the case, if buyer stepped in at these levels before heading into the next leg of the move for the measured move of the structure. However, please also note that there has been a cyclical rhythm here, okay? Cyclical rhythm suggests that a high, or at least intermediate high, will be printed between the second week of this month. The next one, in the main video from July or August, suggests that a cycle high may be printed around October the 27th, okay? As well as October the 2nd are key levels to monitor from here on, okay? Now, once and if new support levels are established, of course, we can compute the measured move. I already did that in August, okay? As an idea as to how high will the price action go. Of course, these were the main levels to break between the 0.786 and the 0.886. I also mentioned before that this was the main idea before, but after stopping at the 0.618, a 118, 117, we had another new data set for the type 2 return. Okay, we did not go straight to those levels at the upper boundary, but we found new support, new arguments, new variables, new setups, and therefore we're now within the upper boundary of this right angle and descending Brownian formation. Okay, keep in mind that there are key levels also on the major time frame. On the monthly and the weekly, our major readings has not changed until fully violating. Okay, I need to give a recap here of the same argument presented already 2 months in advance. The main argument for the CD, okay, the cipher, my friends, there is a key reading to not break higher. Okay, using the trend-based fib extension from the lows of 49 to the highs back to the lows. Okay, therefore ideally Bitcoin should not break any higher than the 1.41, 136, potentially an overspill to 140,000. Okay, depending if these new support levels are established on the daily. I remember mentioning many times, I know we have a short memory, but let's not forget the CD projection here. Okay, very important for this pattern to be violated completely as long as Bitcoin does not break any higher than the 1.41. If we break any higher, all the way to the 1.618, the idea for the cipher, okay, from the legs A to B to C to C to B to C, the last leg of the move is at the C point to avoid this major CD projection. Okay, I will leave that for the next stream as we have been working on this idea for the past few months. Okay, from the lows 110 to the lows, or from the highs at 110 to the lows at 74 to the highs 105 was the highest point. We then move accordingly to new readings, the flag that we presented, then the information, and now currently ending the year Q4 basically with new information. Okay, why? To remove any preconceived bias. Okay, so therefore new support levels on BTC must be established between the 0.382 and the 0.50. Okay, potentially also the 0.618. I have October the 10th right in your note. Okay, October the 10th as well as October the 12th for this correction to be completed. So therefore, between this Friday and Sunday, if we're indeed going to go higher, Bitcoin should ideally complete this correction. Again, only if we're going to go to the measure move of the right angle and descending Brownian formation. Everyone, I'm going to end the stream. Why? Because I heard some noise in the background, some issues with the stream. But I wanted to portray these arguments based on the technical proposition that was already an idea since last August. Okay, now manifested at the upper boundary, completing. However, let's not get too comfortable. Why? Based on the cyclical rhythm for the major reading on October the 27th. At the end of October. Could be Halloween. Treat or trick or treat. We'll see, my friends. I'll see you guys on the next one. And remember to live a life with an attitude of gratitude. Also important to note that we're partnered with Apex, where you guys can use our link in the video below for any discount that would help the room also grow. Okay. And thanks to everyone who is trusting our work. Now we are having over 3,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, which I did not expect this move at all. However, thank you for trusting us, for watching our videos, for believing in us, also to give our words on this space, okay? As there are so many fake gurus. By the way, I'm not a guru here, my friends. I only follow the work from the legends of the past, okay? Then we apply that to our readings in order to mitigate risk accordingly. By the way, none of these also represent any financial advice, okay? Only a disclaimer. You guys should do your own work when it comes to investing, okay? This is only an interpretation of the technical information for informational purposes only. Everyone, thank you once again. I'll see you on the next stream. And remember to live with an attitude of gratitude. Cheers.